can't find nothing on the radio.
You ready, Steve?
Welcome to Songology. He's Bruce,
He's Richard.
and this is another episode from our Song of the Day archives.
Enjoy.
Well, Bruce, you're doing bad guys for this short week. Who's on tap for today?
Today, your bad guy is Big Jim Walker.
Big Jim.
Do you know
Yes.
Big Jim Walker?
Yes.
He's a pool shooting son of a gun.
You don't mess around with Jim.
You don't. And there's a couple of favorite lines of mine in this thing. When he describes Big Jim Walker as big and dumb as a man can come. I quite like that. And I always also like the line that comes just after that because they say, when the bad folks all get together at night, they all call Big Jim boss.
Yep.
So you understand, right?
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
the song is You Don't Mess Around with Jim, and it's a Jim Croce song.
Uh-huh.
Now, you remember we talked about our old friend Jim Croce when we were talking about telephones.
Yes.
This was, to give you a little bit more Jim Croce history, Jim really got into performing. It was one of those things where, okay, if you're not going to be an athlete, then you better be a musician.
Yeah.
Because that's the way to meet girls.
Yeah.
And he was attending a college called Villanova, and he met a fellow by the name of Tommy West. And they really bonded together in the Glee Club, which they joined.
Right.
We might have some of our loyal 17 listeners who watch the TV show Glee. I don't, but I'm given to understand it's about a Glee Club.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, it was actually through the music and a competition that club had where Jim met his later wife, Ingrid.
Huh.
So after graduating from college, his parents were really keen for Jim to get a really, really good 9-to-5 job. Now, Jim wanted to be a musician.
Yeah.
But Jim was the first person from his family to ever graduate from college.
Ah.
And so there was kind of a lot of pressure for Jim to become a professional, to get really solid work. Being a musician is not solid work. You need something that's going to give you a pension, son. We want to do these things. And Jim was also feeling that pressure and wanting to be responsible, but also wanting to help out Ingrid. They got married, and he was trying to help Ingrid get through her college and so forth. And so he got a job at WDDS Radio in West Philadelphia, where they lived, selling commercials, right? Selling airtime.
Uh-huh.
And where he went was in the south and west Philadelphia, in kind of the ratty part of town, not a good neighborhood. And he was going around trying to sell airtime. Well, he used to go and hang out in pool halls. Maybe see if he could sell them some airtime and see what people were doing and so forth. And like he did in just listening to the stories of the soldiers and so forth that inspired him to write the song Operator that we had before.
Yeah.
Listening to the people in the pool halls, that really inspired this song. And actually, he met a guy by the name of Melvin Goldfield. And Melvin was an artist, but he grew up in South Philly and knew all of the bad parts of town and so forth. And so he took Jim to even more rubby pool halls and different places.
Yeah.
And he actually met a guy who was known as Big Jim Walker. Who was a pool shooting son of a gun.
Uh-huh.
Right? And so the story came out from there. So the song is actually Jim Croce's first single.
Yeah.
He'd been working away and trying to get into the music industry and so forth. And eventually a record company rep started going around and promoting it really, really solidly. And so eventually they got some traction, but the single itself wasn't released until 9 months after it had been recorded. And by that time, Jim and the fellow that used to play with him, a guy by the name of Maury Mulheisen, they had really, really polished and perfected the song because they'd been playing it for 9 months in different performances. And so it was really quite well received when they played it live. So it spent 93 weeks on the charts. The album that this came from. And also, Time in a Bottle did really well for him after Jim passed away, because remember, he died in the plane crash. But I found, actually, a little story in Jim's own words about this.
Okay.
Jim said, I remember a couple of things that really got me interested in the pool shark syndrome. The English had that fancy billiards game. You walk around with a brandy glass and stuff like that. But the pool rooms over here, they're something else. There used to be a place in Philadelphia that was an institution called Allinger's. I went up there one time to watch the best of the best. They were going to have one of these matches up there. It wasn't going to be on TV. It was going to be one of those underground things. There was lights over the pool table and all these little bent people. Because when you shoot a lot of pool, you get a little bent. So I said something to somebody, and somebody said something to me, and I said something back. Before I knew it, I went down 2 flights of concrete steps, hitting the steel tips on my backbone all the way down into the subway. That sure put me into a world. That's a whole different world by itself, the world of pain. And that's where I got to see the American phenomenon of pool cue justice. So after all those experiences, Jim put together this song. Here's Jim Croce and You Don't Mess Around with Jim.
And as usual, I have to stop her right there due to the wonderful world of fair use rules. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. You can visit us on Facebook or head over to our website, songology.ca. Now, here's your chance to listen to the music or go on to the next episode.